What up, y'all? Mr. Cruz here, the littest teacher you never had, back with another video. And in today's video, what I'm going to be showing you guys is how you can route each individual pad in your Kong Drum Designer out to an individual mixer channel or individual audio channel. So that way you can edit and process those sounds and those samples individually and not have to deal with trying to mix everything inside of Kong Drum Designer. You can do it, using other means and have more flexibility. So first off, let's go ahead and listen to this drum pattern just that we have here with that we've created with our Kong Drum Designer. All right, so this is super simple. It's only got 4 sounds. It's got a kick, it's got a snare, it's got a rim shot, and it's got a hi-hat. So if you can see here, it's already, all of it is being routed, and you can kind of tell because up here you'll see the meter responding to all of those sounds. All right, but that's not what we want. We want to route it out individually. So what I'm going to start out with doing is creating 4 mixer channels. Now I've already created my 4 mixer channels, but you'll just right click and make sure you hit mixer channel, not audio channel or not audio track. All right, so that's the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create the amount of mixer channels that you have to correspond with the number of sounds that you have in Kong Drum Designer. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn our rack around. So we're going to hit tab to turn it around, and I would go ahead and hit K. If you didn't know that, if you hit K, it'll declutter, it'll like kind of makeshift hide the cables, so you're only seeing the cables that are attached to your device. So I have 4 different sounds, and I want to route all 4 sounds individually to its own mixer channel. The problem is I don't have 1 and 2. It starts out with 3, 4, 5, and 6. So these all correspond to the pads that we have in Kong Drum Designer. Down here, our main left and right output is actually 1 and 2. So that's where I'm going to start at. So I'm going to disconnect this, and this is 1. So I'm going to route this one to 1. But you'll see that it'll automatically route the right one to it because it wants to do it in stereo. That's kind of by default, but that's not what I want. I want to route this one out to channel 2. And I believe this first one was the kick. This second one was the snare, right? If I'm correct, that's what I had in drum pad 2. And now I'm gonna go up here to 3. 3 was my rim shot. So I hit rim. And then 4 was my hi-hat. Boom. So now I'm gonna turn this stuff around. And actually, now is probably a good time to kind of mention, this is one of the reasons why I prefer Redrump over Kong Drum Designer, is because when you route the channels out individually, when you route the pads out individually to its own mixer channel, it by default it's automatically going to set it to, it changes it to mono, to a mono track. Some of the times that works, like usually with a kick or with a hi-hat, that'll probably work and it'll be fine. But a lot of times I don't want that, so that's why I don't really use the Kong Drum Designer this way very often. That's why I kind of prefer Redrump. But if you want to, this is just in case you want to use it. In case you want to know, I got the gems for you, and I'm gonna show you. All right, so moving on, I'm gonna turn my tab back around, flip my rack back around, and now I'm gonna hit this drop down arrow. Actually, before we do that, let's hit play to see what happens. And actually, I'll tell you what you're gonna see is you're gonna see all of those sounds into these 2 channels right here. All right. But that's not what we want because we see that down here they're not working. So what I'm going to do is in each one of these individual channels, I need to select the output, and I need to change the output to correspond to what we routed them to in the back side, on the back part. So again, left and right, 3 and 4, which kind of corresponds to pad 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So pad 1 is already to main out left, which is good. Pad 2, do the same thing, right? Left and right, because this is left, this one's right. Pad 3, I'm going to change that one to 3 and 4. And then pad 4, I'm also going to change it to 3 and 4. So now what you'll see is that the kick and the snare are conjoined into these 2 right here. Right? You'll still hear the kick and the snare here, and then the rim shot and the hi-hat are combined into these 2 channels down here. Now the problem is I want this channel to just be the kick. I want it to only be the kick, but I'm hearing the kick and the snare. So here's the last step that you have to do. And again, this kind of goes with what I was saying earlier, how Kong will route it out as a mono channel. So because it's kind of like a makeshift stereo device that is converting itself into mono, here's the last thing that you have to do is you're going to have to pan these left and right. So I'm going to pan my kick left and my snare right. And now when I solo my kick, I should only hear my kick. All right. So now again, I have to do that same thing with 3 and 4. So 3, I'm going to pan it to the left. 4, I'm going to pan it to the right. And now if I unsolo this, so now each of these meters will respond correctly to the instrument that it's labeled with. Boom, so there you go. And again, the little caveat to that is that it changes those channels into mono tracks, which I don't usually like working with mono tracks with all of my drums. But again, if it's something that you can use and that you can utilize, then more power to you. At least now you know how you can do it. All right. But anyways, that's what I got for you guys today. Hopefully that's something that's useful to you guys. If it is, let me know in the comments below if you are going to use this trick or you find that it's something that's kind of useful to you. If not, at least give me a thumbs up. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that jazz. And make sure you follow me on Twitter, yo, because I'll be dropping gems on Twitter. All right. It's your boy, Mr. Cruz, out.